Well, good evening. My name is Brooks Boron. I am the president of the Cleveland Stonewall Democrats. I am also a labor attorney. So in my day job, I represent labor unions, specifically teachers, mostly. So I am here to talk to you guys about the kind of education landscape of what we're seeing here in Ohio and nationwide. And I just want to give a brief overview of what we're looking at here in Ohio and then what your questions are, because I think that it's really important to kind of clear up some of the confusion that is coming from our crazy state house in Columbus. So first thing I want to talk about today is some kind of breaking news out of Columbus that we're pretty frustrated and disheartened about, and it is the bathroom bill that was passed today by the Ohio Senate. So if you have not heard, the anti-trans bathroom ban that was passed, which is headed to Governor DeWine's desk now. We are expecting him to sign it. We urge everyone to send emails to the governor and to make phone calls to the governor. On my way here, I made a phone call to his office. They're not answering and their voicemail is full, but you can send emails. It's important, even if we know that he is going to sign the bill, that we continue to use our voice to say that we do not support this kind of stuff. What the bill is poised to do is to require students in K through 12 to use the bathroom that matches what they were assigned to at birth. And then something that's really kind of wild and what we haven't seen in other bathroom bills around this country is that Ohio has now banned gender-neutral bathrooms in all K through 12 and public and private universities. So it's not just publicly funded, but it's also private. So I'm not quite sure what or how they're going to enforce this in some of these private schools specifically. But if you are in, at Ohio State and there's a single bathroom, that now is technically in violation of the law. So that happened today. As I was looking over my notes, I was like, I gotta sadly update my presentation. As you likely know, we are in what is called now the lame duck session, where we still have the people who were elected in our last time, as we know who's going to be coming in the next term. And so this can be sometimes a scary time in Ohio. The lame duck session is where we see some of the more radical legislation that's coming up. What I'm seeing and what some of the groups that I work closely with are most concerned about is what is called HB 8. It is essentially Ohio's own Don't Say Gay bill that matches a little bit of what Florida passed with Governor DeSantis down there. What this is being labeled as is the Parents' Bill of Rights. So it requires schools to get sign-off from parents, affirmative sign-offs that require parents to approve any kind of discussion of sexuality or LGBT issues. It would make mandatory outing of students who are trans that share with a school employee or teacher that they identify as trans or that they're gay. They would be under law required to, the teacher would then have to report to the parent, amongst other things in that bill. So that's something that we are watching, and we're hopeful that will not be coming up during lame duck, but that's something that we expect and that we're seeing. So those are kind of the two big things right now in education laws. Another thing that they are currently considering in the House, two things that I think are really important. One is they're considering allowing public schools to have chaplains, religious people come in and serve as school counselors rather than having school counselors be hired in the schools. If you know anything about education, school counselors require certain state licensures. You go through the whole education process, and they help a lot with not just counseling students, but also with grades and transcripts and getting into college, things like that. So we're seeing a lot of people coming in with no expertise being changed with people who have expertise. That has not yet passed. That's still being considered, something that would be concerning if happened. And what I want to pivot to, and my call to action tonight, is about school board elections. So, as you may know, in the last election, or in the last House session, they passed a new law where they changed the Ohio Supreme Court to have political parties on the ballot, so you could see who it was. That's something that's new and had a very big effect in this last election. They are now, Republicans in the House and Senate are now considering making school board elections partisan, where they would have the party affiliation on the ballot. This is something that we also find very concerning because, as I think we can all agree, education should not be partisan. And the whole role of a school board is to ensure the best quality education for our students, not what Moms for Liberty or some political group is pushing. So that is another bill that we are keeping an eye out for. As we have seen in Ohio, when we have fair, free elections, sometimes one party loses, and so they try to change the rules to make it a little easier for them, and that's what we're seeing affecting now into the school board elections. So that's the summary of what's going on. I do want to say real briefly, because I've been having a really hard week, and I know a lot of people are having a tough week through this past results, but there are some really good things happening nationwide that we can take some hope in. We elected our first ever openly trans person to Congress, Sarah McBride. She is going to be in the United States House of Representatives alongside some of our other elected officials like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but it's really nice to see an openly trans person get elected for the state of Delaware. There has been a significant increase in out-elected LGBT leaders throughout the country, and for the first time in the United States history, there is an elected out member at some level in every single state throughout the country. So that is really exciting. And when I keep telling my family and my husband and my parents, who are very upset, that we are on the right side of what's going on, that we are on the right side with love. And so I urge you to take some time to rest, but then to get back up and get in this fight, because we need all of you, and to come out. I'm from Strongsville, so to come out over to Brecksville, which I feel like is a similar community, and to see a group like this is really inspiring to me, and so I thank you all for coming.